fine. It's not a big deal. I have three weird names. Um, but usually when that would happen at local tournaments, they would go Everett Mananon, and if it was like if I was next to them or something, if I was able to correct them, I would usually just give them a different pronunciation. I would usually go, it's actually pronounced Monoghan, and they would go, oh, I'm sorry, and they would go Everett Monoghan, which is also incorrect. And I always found that to be really funny. Um, Maybe it wasn't, but I thought it was. How strong is Lotus Field deck? I think pretty strong. I think it's good. Alright, we've got a decent hand against taxes, although we don't have green mana yet. I think we're still supposed to keep this. It's hard to quantify strong, you know? Do I want to get Field of Ruin with this, or Ghost Quartered with this hand? I kind of do. I don't want to get double Ghost Quartered. Yeah, I don't really want to get double Ghost Quartered, but like, if they don't have a second Ghost Quarter, I like getting the Vial here. Yeah, I feel that, Blackwing. Mugon in a French way. You thought it was French at first. No, I believe my last name, you know, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I believe my last name is Irish. Like, that's what most of my family are, so I guess I always assumed that. I know that my first name is German. However, my family isn't, and I've always been told that we got my name Everett off of a statue, and I don't know where the statue is. I guess the statue was of a guy named Everett, but that's all I know. Start an Ancestry.com, maybe. They replay an Arbiter. I think that I would like to pay for Arbiter and then cast an Ice-Fang this turn, instead of just Skyclaving the Arbiter. I think Skyclave has higher value. What is my name, by the way? Everett Mohan. MTGO user Everett Mohan is my full legal name. I shouldn't have paid right then. Oops. I really do feel like this MTGO user thing has the chance to be big, a big deal, huge. I have a Teferi opponent you can't path. Judge, my opponent tried to cast Path to Exile while I have a Teferi Time Raveler in play. Alright, we're gonna give you a GRV. Is this your first warning of the day? Yes, it is. Sorry, I forgot. I haven't played much since War of the Spark came out. That's fine, that's fine. We just gotta maintain the board states. No big deal. I'm not sweating it. I appreciate you being so cool about this. No problem, no problem. I want to play my fetch to play around future Arbiters and the like. I think I'm going to Skyclave their Skyclave. And so let's get Prairie Stream. Pass. Yeah, if you miss Paper Magic, just have like the same conversations you would have usually with yourself. It's a life hack. Something I do all the time. I do all the time on stream, and then I also just continue to talk to myself off stream too. In the same way that I talk to the regular stream, I just have the same conversations. I don't understand this main phase path, but I hope to understand it soon. I talk to myself all a lot. I mean, aren't you watching me talk to myself right now? A few too many lands, maybe. Yeah, where's Fran to tell me what to do here? I'm going to trade with Ice-Fang because our 3/3 illusion token is good at keeping this Thalia in check. Yeah, Valakut Awakening. Hopefully we can draw one of those. I guess main phase path played around Ephemerate on Skyclave. Yeah, I guess that's fair. That makes sense to me. They're going to draw step Field of Ruin. I'm not going to path this Thalia. I am going to bounce my own Ice-Fang. See if we draw a Wall of Omens. Another land is bad. Cryptic is a good draw, though. Fran will be proud I'm hitting my land drops, exactly. Yeah. So Fran would say, I think we're good. I think we've got enough lands still to play. We've got lands 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to play. So is my opponent gonna chump attack with their? Oh, they're just gonna get rid of my Teferi. That's totally fine. And then now we have a Wolfear. This Path to Exile is now a Wolfear Silverheart because it can be a 3/3 flash creature. Although I think I'll just Skyclave and play a Nessian Courser. I don't know how to say Nessian, but a 3/3 at sorcery speed. We can't hold up both Path and Cryptic, so I'll play Temple Garden tapped, and I think I'll get in with both of my creatures. Wolfear Silverheart? Oh yeah, Wolfear is the 4 for the pairs. Wolfear. What's the 3/3 flash Wolfear? There's a different one. You're right. Wolfear Avenger? Avenger, yeah. I did think it before the guy posted it, I promise. Please believe me. Ontanice is pretty bad against the Ghost Quarter deck, but if they Ghost Quarter you and they don't have an Arbiter, I guess it is still a 1-for-1. You can play like 2. It's just better than everything else, I think. The remands also aren't great. I used to bring in 1 Tails End against Taxes, but I'm kind of off of it, honestly. Play the Venser. Maybe keep the Time Warp in and 1 remand. I used to play Wolfear Avenger in Standard. I thought the card was pretty good. I still think that, I guess. There was like a lot of discussion on Twitter about like I didn't really understand what the origin of it was, but I saw a lot of people posting like is Lava Axe better than or worse than Windrake, and then like Thoughtseize and Past in Flames, which is better. But I didn't understand the origin of the question. I missed it. All right, I guess I should have waited to draw, but I think we're just gonna Ontanice Thalia. This obviously loses to some things, but my opponent mulligans, and I don't want to path. Maybe I could have just cast Wall. Yeah, Oko is just objectively super hot, I think. I don't even think I think that is just true. This is fine. I mean, this is just like a 1-for-1. Don't think we're too upset about this. I haven't actually checked to see how upset I am, but I don't think we're upset. You bring an Ontanice against the Ghost Quarter deck. I just think it's better than like Remand and Force. Like I know Ontanice is not good, but like this is still a 1-for-1 if they don't have Arbiter in play. And like Remand and Force just kind of suck, and we don't have other options. Back when like there was a time where Taxes was much more popular, and that I was like playing a lot fewer Ontanice in that metagame. But I've kind of just found Taxes to be not popular as of late. They're gonna Flicker Wisp my Forest. I guess this isn't. Oh, they're gonna Flicker Wisp Thalia. Sure. They should have probably targeted. I guess we get to untap the plains if they target it. This is another card that's good against it. And they also have Skyclave. I mean, the card's not good against them, but neither are Remand and Force, you know? It's like we got a bunch of bad options. Just some random feed. Archon is so good. Oh no! Even if we pay for Arbiter, the Windswept Heath enters tapped. So I guess we main phase Ice-Fang. Maybe we don't. Maybe we try to trade with this Flicker Wisp. Okay, I think that's the plan. A tapped Windswept Heath to cost 2 to activate. You love to see it. You know, we all hate fetch lands here, of course. Opponent only has 1 card left in their hand, so hopefully it's not something great. Something okay. Don't get to get the land, of course, because of the lead in Arbiter. So if we path the... Okay, so I think what we do here is we pay for Arbiter. Pay for Arbiter, get a basic forest, path the Archon, and then we can also fetch with this Misty. Oop. And hopefully we can kind of pull out of this a bit. We are also being attacked down to 1, but maybe we get to gain some life with Uro. My opponent's paying for their own Arbiter. They have no cards in their hands, so... Oh my gosh, what am I... Sorry, I miscounted. We can't crack this right now. Oops. Why are we pathing now and not on upkeep? I was thinking it was so we could... We can't fetch this turn because of the life, but we couldn't fetch this turn because of the Archon making the fetch enter tapped. So if we do this now, then we get to fetch with this turn, but we're dead anyways. I think on the play we can play Remand over Anthonize. On the draw, Remand's pretty bad though. Keeping this hand. Love to draw something to do on turn 2. I'll take just getting a fetch land down underneath Arbiter, I suppose. I'm not sure what land we're getting. I guess just Prairie Stream. Like, we don't have any double green cards in our hand. We do have triple blue, and we have double white in our deck as well. I'm going to bounce the... I think I'm just going to bounce the Vial. I should have thought this out before I did this. If we don't bounce the Vial, they just Vial the Arbiter back in. I know we're getting Ghost Quartered, but we have like all non-fetch lands in hand, so I think it's kind of fine. Have a Giver. Cool. Skyclave is a good draw. Hopefully they like are stuck on 2 lands and they just don't Ghost Quarter me, but they're just gonna play Vial and Ghost Quarter, I think. Yeah, the hand's a bit slow, but it's also like a hand that can develop its mana well and is on the play. And I think that's important against taxes. Like, I think I would have mulliganed that on the draw. But I think you can keep a slower hand on the play, usually in matchups, and felt fine this game too. They do have a land, so I think we're getting Strip Mined. Targeted the Prairie Stream. Alright, gonna go after their Giver of Runes. What if you're a 1-issue voter and your one issue is 1-issue voters? I don't have a funny retort, but you've made me laugh. Good job. I don't have any witty thing to say back, but good job. Very funny. It's definitely not a show of strength to just like maul their illusion here. Yeah, honestly, our joke count is kind of getting out of control. I think we take a hit here. It's pretty close between like Venser bouncing Illusion Token, but it's also just like so good if we get to Cryptic a 3-drop this turn. It's like incredibly, incredibly good to like counter any 3-drop that they cast. Well, I feel validated. Do I counter bounce? We have Venser to bounce the Illusion Token, although that's like a bit slow. Yeah. I think this is good. Just get the Illusion off the field now. It's an interesting draw. I guess not really, no, actually. Maybe I'll bounce the Vial now. Because they like pretty clearly don't have a 2-drop in their hand. And this is, you know, pretty tricky, of course. If we just draw an Uro, this game ends, which I'm tired of saying. I hope I don't say that for the rest of my life. You know, I hope that that is not something I say daily or weekly for the rest of my life. If we draw an Uro, we win the game. Can I pet Athena now? She was sleeping on Friday. Probably. Esther went to the gym, but she didn't leave the door open for Athena. Athena, come here. If she's napping, she won't come here. Athena, come here. She was in here this morning hanging out with me before Esther woke up, like she usually does. She's got a pretty busy schedule. Athena, come here. Maybe I'm supposed to bounce my own Venser there, actually. Yeah, I think I was. That's actually a line I've never taken. Bounce your own Venser when you ephemerate it. There she is. There she is. Hello, Athena. Her tail is wagging, too. Athena. She wants to get chased. You can tell. You can tell she wants to get chased. That's her favorite thing. But we're not chasing her here. Your bone? No, she doesn't want her bone. I think that this is just going to get Field of Ruin, but then that's like their whole turn. You bounce them all so that it costs more to equip. Oh, maybe you don't bounce them all, actually, for that reason. I should have bounced the Venser. I'm on board for that. I didn't really think about that. Simon has redeemed Pet Athena. I'm going to try, but she... So we have this game where I chase her down and we wrestle, and she thinks that's what we're doing right now. And so part of that game is her, like, you know... You guys know what I'm saying. That's it. That's what Athena does. So it's going to be hard to pet her while she's in this mode. But I've got a lot of Pet Athena redemptions. Athena. We'll get her. Or maybe just grab her a treat so she gets pet. It's a good draw. I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen. We'll pet Athena. I got too many redemptions to not actually pet her. Oh, cool. Infinite turns. So let me just take infinite turns and then we'll pet Athena, which is way harder than taking infinite turns when she's in chase mode. She usually gives up being chased in the other room. Oh, we actually needed to rip the land to infinite turns, which we did. Does my opponent know they're dead? Maybe my opponent thinks they can break this up by vialing in a Giver of Runes, but we can play around that. Oh, I guess we don't even have to play around that because the Witness never gets to attack. Yeah, so Eternal Witness, Time Warp, and Ephemerate is a 3-card infinite turn combo. So it's not a Splinter Twin combo, because it is, in fact, 3 cards. Not 2. It's a pretty simple formula. Just going to play Prairie Stream on turn 1. GG's Locksmith. I think we're 1-0 against 4-color control today. I found the matchup to be pretty close. Like, Skyclave is nice that it answers basically all of their threats, but of course the 4-color control deck is very good and grindy, but so are we. It's close. We 3-2'd the first league. We're 3-0 into 3-2. Lost to Reclaimer Titan, which is a bad matchup, which is a good matchup for Jeskai Lotus Field, but bad matchup for this deck. And we lost to Dredge, having kind of just a non-functional draw in game 3. When did that become 50k? I think it's always been 50k. I can't remember a time where it was less. I know it's a lot, but you know, for a reward so good, you gotta pay up. Dude, Spiral into Mana Leak or Remand would be so brutal. We also have, you know, a plethora of hats to choose from at this point. It's really evolved. If only we were on the play and could have just, like, immediately Skyclaved the Ren. The bright side, I think we may get to concede quickly. It's always a good thing. Since there's 3 cards, is it a Splinter triplet? I'll allow it, but only as a temporary name. Yeah, I think you really don't want to draw 2 Skyclaves ever. So I think that you want to at least trim 1. Like, sometimes you want to draw 2, but like it can be really bad if you're like playing this like hold up counter magic battle and you just have 2 Skyclaves rotting in your hand and your opponent hasn't resolved a threat yet. I found that to be really, really bad. So I'm gonna try to not have that happen. 50k to watch MTGO user Everett Monaghan play Magic while wearing a Santa hat is exactly what I tuned in for. Hell yeah. I should probably make that my Twitch bio too. MTGO user Everett Mohan. Honestly, I've been gifted a great gift from this article now. Is there a difference between Wall of Omens and the Wall of Blossom? So I think we've talked about this a lot, and honestly, like there are very small pros and cons to both. SDE Fimov, thank you for the raid. I think it's your first time raiding us. It's very nice of you. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I don't have the link to the article. I'm sure someone else does, but just like there's an MTG Goldfish article that referenced me as MTGO user Aspiring Spike, which is now something I fully embrace. Oh, Athena wants to get chased so badly. Hopefully Esther gets home soon and can chase her. I had a train of thought that got derailed. The Wall of Blossoms, Wall of Omens. Wall of Omens being white is more relevant for Sword of Feast and Famine, in my opinion, and Aether Gust, kind of. And is also like we want white early a bit more because of Skyclave Apparition, maybe. But it's very, very close, and in my opinion, it's like tough to like fully figure out exactly where we want to be. We're missing our 3rd land dropped after remanding stinks. If we can find a fetch, if we can go Tails and Ren and 6 into find a fetch land, I'm gonna feel okay. Or if my opponent also doesn't have a 3rd land and they're hoping Ren and 6 gets them lands, I'm gonna feel okay as well. Okay, they do have a 3rd land. Would love to find a fetch. Fetch would get us right back into this. Damn it. Aspiring MTGO user Spike. Interesting. Well, I've already been established by an article, though, as being an MTGO user, so I'm not sure the boot fits there. Hell yeah. Oh, gross, Athena. Did you hear a burp? Pretty behind here. Chess stream win any day now. It's coming. Athena is so riled up. What could we have done that riled Athena up so much? I don't even know. Why is the MTGO user line so funny? Is that not common practice when citing MTG Decklist? It's funny because it's very clear that MTG Goldfish has no idea that I am a streamer.
Welcome,
Scoop 'em up 9 months in a row. Hope you're having a good day today. Appreciate ya. I would say that it is common practice if they were aware that I was a content creator to instead say that MTGO streamer aspiring Spike, but it just is painfully clear that they have no idea that that's the case. I think I'm passing back with Cryptic up. It's kind of close between playing a threat this turn, though. Maybe I'll let her out on the balcony. Sometimes she gets to burn some energy out there. You've been playing a Jeskai cycling control deck with Valakut Awakening in Historic, and the deck seems okay. I feel like the cycling payoffs aren't that good in Modern, but it's maybe something to think about. Opponent is also out of lands, kind of good. If they miss on lands again, they're like really heavily incentivized to play a threat here into my Cryptic Command. Athena. I think that it is unfair for you to act like you're going to play with me and then not actually play with me. I think that is not okay. We should have a dialogue. It is time we open the dialogue, Dad. All right, I'm gonna go chase Athena for a second. Okay, sorry about that. Maybe we just escape Uro here. I don't want to play Teferi into Force of Negation. We could also Eternal Witness with like Tails end up. Think about Uro. Can you tell Athena if Athena likes or dislikes this line, but she definitely has opinions, yeah. Let this go. Athena usually only ever talks like that when she feels like, she's like, I feel like it's only fair for you to play with me if you're, you know, she just like voices complaints like that. It's really cute. If you sign off during that time, I should raid them to send a message. I don't know. Nah. You know, I'd rather meet my peers in a different context, you know? I'd rather have my first encounter with my peers be a bit, you know, more natural, you know? And I've never had an interaction with anybody at MTG Goldfish, so it's like not weird that they don't know who I am. It's just funny that they don't. I just think it's funny that they just have no idea that I'm an e-boy, you know. Do I do voices for D&D? Yeah, I do, but not for chat. They don't have a Force still. It's good for us. So I am going to Skyclave and Ephemerate my Skyclave. want to trigger it like this, so if they do end up getting a token, it's a slightly... Oh, never mind. Right. The fun Raveler. Alright, so I guess I'll Ephemerate now, then bounce the token. Yeah, I don't have beef with MTG Goldfish. I just think it's funny that they have no idea who I am. How arrogant would it be to be like, you don't know that I'm Aspiring Spike? I have dozens of viewers, and I have made some good decks in Modern. How could you not know who I am? How arrogant would that be? Is there a Spike or is a hat purchase here, or is it just the Santa hat, or is this Santa hat all you? There was a channel point redemption. I usually wear the smaller hats for longer than the big one, because the big one's pretty uncomfortable. Why don't I have beef with anybody? My beef game is pretty poor. That is a good point, Fran. I can't even have beef with you. I like you too much, and it just turns into tofu all the time. What about Esper Lotus Fields? You could play a pusher. Is Valakut's Awakening too important? I would say it more so than Valakut's Awakening. Much more so than Valakut's Awakening, it's Wildfire and Blood Sun. But the Valakut's Awakening are also very good. I probably should have tapped Mystigate instead. Hopefully you don't end up getting punished for that, I guess. I think I will trade Skyclave for Illusion Token. Now, the Fran beef just turned into tofu, which is the opposite of beef, where you just say nice things about each other. Ross is the one that officially brings my brews to the world. Yeah, that's pretty true. I heard of Aspiring Spike from Jim Davis. I heard of Jim Davis from a comment on the channel 5. Yeah, Jim's been really nice shouting me out too. I really love Jim. Jim is definitely like... You know, I don't watch a ton of YouTube. I consume most of my Magic content on Twitch, and Jim is usually not live when I'm watching Twitch, but I watch a ton of Jim YouTube videos. Jim is one of the YouTubers I watch a lot of, and someone that I've been a big fan of for a long time. What do I think about getting into the trials in Blood Sun Lotus in Modern to help shore up the Ad Nauseam and Oops matchups? I would just play Platinum Angel instead, which I guess doesn't even sound like a real comment, but I would play Platinum Angel instead in the Madcap board, but Platinum Imperion already is good against Oops. All right, let's play a Teferi and see if it resolves. Did not resolve. Yeah, there have definitely been like lots of content creators who have made me feel very welcome, and I'm very appreciative to them. It's just I still am kind of a newcomer, I think, to the content creation game, and that's fine. Cool. This is a great draw now. I guess they'll just crack their fetch, but if they don't send everything at Teferi, we can keep our Teferi alive if we want. How does this deck handle Oops All Spells? We have the Tails End is like your main card, but Oops All Spells is a tough matchup. They didn't crack the fetch. Kind of surprises me. Careful or I'll end up in a game of Commander. I have actually recently built a Commander deck, and I like Commander. We do have an Ephemerate on the rebound. It's possible we're just supposed to let this Teferi go because it's like pretty unlikely we can actually protect it. But maybe if we drew Ice-Fang off of this, we would just like get some value off the Ephemerate and pass. But I actually think we just let the Teferi die. Let the old things die. Thanks, McGrappa. I do like this deck a lot. Howdy Lamp. Okay. They could have done this in response to the draw a card trigger. and just drawing the lightning bolt immediately, but it seems like they've got a way to draw a card. It's a lot of mana. And that's a way to draw a card. So we're going to take 4. We're going to get whatever we target with the Ephemerate lightning bolted. I wonder if Gideon of the Trials should see more modern play. I've played Gideon of the Trials in the past in modern. Oh, my opponent also gets to escape Uro. Jeez Louise. Yeah, Omnath is pretty good, huh? What are the most fun archetypes for me? More interactive Magic or just combo kill? I tend to enjoy any deck that lets me make a ton of decisions. So I think we're going to play Uro from our hand. Oh boy, before we do anything else. It's going to give us the most options. Maybe I'm supposed to Mystic Sanctuary first. Guess so. Okay, so can we escape Uro and Skyclave and Remand? Not necessarily. But I don't think we necessarily need to Skyclave if we get to escape Uro here. And I'll keep a Teferi in the yard over a Skyclave because we have another one in our hand to maybe get back in the future with an Ewit. So now we draw the Ephemerate, and we have the choice of playing Skyclave on Omnath. I feel like Omnath isn't doing a ton right now, though. Right? Like, yeah, I really don't think the Omnath is doing a lot. They already have all the mana in the world. It's not drawing them cards. It's also terrible if we Skyclave them and one of the cards in their hand is another Omnath, which it absolutely could be in this spot. I do think my opponents they probably actually don't have a third Sanctuary in their deck. So that's a good thing for us. They do have 2 spells. One of them could absolutely be an Omnath. Well, easy Remand, because we can't Remand if this resolves. They would need to get they need to have an untapped white source. Do I actually have I should have a breeding pool to get off of this Misty Rainforest. Yeah, the 4-color one very rarely. I'll get a breeding pool. We have plenty of life, and it's possible I want to get a basic off of like a Path or a Field of Ruin. Awesome. Witness is a really good draw. Pulling out of this. My opponent does get to escape Uro, but we have Skyclave plus Ephemerate. Although I'm probably going to just draw 2 with this Ephemerate because I have the Witness too. I don't understand how we beat the zombies. Cryptic Command, Time Warp. Also, it's just like... if we like Uro, attack, trade with 3 zombies, escape Uro again, that's not a big deal for us. Like, Uro can definitely beat zombies. Uro just kind of beats Magic the Gathering, sadly. A lot of people have been asking me, like, how do you beat Field of the Dead in spots like this? But it's either with, like, outvaluing it with Uro, like I just said, or just looping Cryptics and Time Warps becomes your plan. Okay, so I'm going to Skyclave and Ephemerate my Skyclave. Or attempt to. And then attack with my Uro. And see, if they just trade 3 zombies here, we could just escape Uro again, and then it's just not that big a deal for us. We could also bounce a zombie. We don't have to escape the Uro again right now. I think I want to resolve a Witness. Get back an Ephemerate. And we could get back a Teferi, bounce a zombie token, but then we don't have Venser up. How good is Venser here? It's like medium good. I think I'll just play my Strand and pass. Do you ever Skyclave, Venser, Skyclave? I've done it like once or twice. I don't think we're supposed to in this spot. Okay, with my opponent still being choked on white mana, this could work. It's kind of nice that Venser gets around Veil, too. If they have a path, it's kind of awkward, I guess. Or Bolt, yeah. I'm not sure that we have 2 fetchable targets here, but at least they go to the graveyard for Uro. Yeah, we do have another island, so we do have 2 fetchable targets. I'll just get them both out of my deck. And F6. They plus, which is not something I was expecting, into a Wrenn and 6, killing my Ice-Fang or Eternal Witness, probably. Okay. I think I'm out of Skyclaves in my deck. Also, this rebound's not doing anything with the Teferi. Might bounce the Skyclave, though, and get rid of their Teferi. Let's go ahead and escape an Uro first. I guess I can exile a Venser because I have one in my hand. I also have both Eternal Witnesses are dead, right? Yeah, so never mind. Just like our graveyard doesn't matter except for Mystic Sanctuary anymore. Okay, so now we could bounce the Teferi and then Tails in it on the way down. But I think it's still better to go Tails End our own Skyclave, Skyclave the Teferi, and then we can hold up the Tails End as a really good counter spell. And then I'll attack the Wrenn and 6, and if Wrenn and 6 wants to trade for the Ice-Fang, it's a-okay with me. Yeah, Teferi is great against us. I mean, we also have Skyclaves to answer it, at least. They have 2 cards left in their hand. We have an answer to 1 threat. Hopefully the last 2 cards aren't good, but they are definitely spells. Because they haven't been fielding us. How many Teferis is that? It's only 2, I think. No, 3. Okay, one of them is a mountain. I like this mountain art choice. I like all of my opponent's basic land choices. Not enough to escape here. 2 cards away. They drew Uro. It's not a land. The spell is Omnath. Teferi into Uro into Omnath. Just cards everybody hates. Tribal, I guess. They did not draw a land either, I think. Well, I guess they'd already played a land their turn. It could have been a land. That's a bad draw. I'm going to send Uro at my opponent. Ice-Fang at them. I guess I'll send Uro at them, actually. They're at 36. Their life total doesn't matter. Big draw step. Time Warp is maybe the best draw. Ooh. I wasn't even done saying Time Warp. We have no witnesses left in the deck. But this kills the Wrenn and 6. And obviously lets us get to Uro again. And if we draw Cryptic Command, we can bounce Sanctuary and maybe take more turns. We have this has no fetchable targets either. Although I guess I'm supposed to put it into play for future Uros. Go ahead and cycle an Uro first. Jim Davis was talking about this the other day. And I think I agree with him, but just like the grindiest Magic cards in Magic should not also gain life. They should not gain life. These like Uro and the Great Hinge. Not that the Great Hinge is a problem, really, but really grindy Magic cards should not also draw cards, in my and his opinion. I think we pass it back for a turn. We could escape the other Uro. Maybe. Pass it back. Yeah, Oko 2. I came because I heard Spike was not anti-Uro, only to see an Uro on the stack. I mean, if I think a card is good enough to be banned, I'm going to cast it. Be crazy not to, right? The way to get a card banned is not to refuse to cast it. You know, it's to build decks good enough to get it banned. I have not really looked at Historic No, but I have lots of people have told me that people are main decking Tails End, which it's very cool to have an impact on a format when you only play one tournament with it, and like probably maybe leave it forever or until the next time I qualify for a PT. How do I win this game? We are going to try to bounce our Mystic Sanctuary with Cryptic Command and not deck ourselves because of that and just take a bunch of turns. Love this attack, I think. What was my record in the championship? I was 5-2 in Historic and then 2-6 in Standard. My Standard list, I think, was bad. Cryptic Command, please. How many have we cast this game? Only 2. There we go. So I think now we go... I guess we can just let damage happen if we want. Nah. I'm just going to go... Tap Bounce Sanctuary. If they drew a counterspell, we have Force of Negation. The called shots have been insane. I mean, we only had 12 cards left in our library and 2 cryptics, so we had just like a... Oh no! What? Oh no, sorry, never mind. We escape Uro and then Mystic Sanctuary gets put into play. Ah, fuck. Sorry. This was terrible. We need to play this first. I was thinking we wanted this to like escape the Uro. Be fine. I'm still gonna escape Uro here. We're not out of this yet, but this was obviously a horrible punt. But if we draw a cantrip, we also get to take another turn. Let's do the Time Warp again. Maybe this just ended up being way better for us. Resolve. Oh, hell yeah. We can bounce something here. Obviously. I think we want to bounce the Venser to pick up our own Sanctuary again. Got super rewarded, I guess. Okay, so let's go Venser, bounce our own Sanctuary. And then if we get back Cryptic Command, we attack, and then... Yeah, it's not infinite turns, so I think we're supposed to just get back Time Warp. We need another way to bounce like the Venser again. But we have like a lot of looks. You know. This is cool. Really cool game. If we can take one more turn. Like we have more cryptics to draw into. That's a bad draw. Okay, just gonna attack with everybody first. Draw my card off Uro. We can escape another Uro to draw a card. Okay, cool. Does this work? Do I think Uro, Field of Dead, and maybe Omnath? I think if you ban Uro, you make Field of Dead, Mystic Sanctuary, and Veil of Summer all worse, and I'd like to see what the format looks like after that. So if I bounce Sanctuary, draw a card, I can then escape Uro into... By cracking the Flooded Strand, I can then escape Uro into the Time Warp that we draw into. And win the game. How do you win from this spot? It was very simple the whole time. Very clear line. Guys, please, I pulled the full art. Never mind, take it all back. Uro should remain legal. BMAT pulled the full art one. Changed my opinion. We'd have another turn here by bouncing our Venser. Wait, that was game 2? Yeesh. I was wondering if my opponent would have conceded. I thought that was game 3. What do the clocks look like? Are we behind on time? 9 minutes even? Alright, we're gonna play it quick, baby. Turn my music up and focus. Perfect song. I'm listening to Vibration by Alex Wiley. Opponents reconsidering their sideboard plan for game 3 if they think that the clocks can be relevant, but 9 minutes is plenty of time. I thought I was listening to Christmas hits. I don't have a witty retort, but it's a good joke. Just went 4-1 Vivilands and Cruel Ultimatum in Modern. What a day. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I'll tell this again because I just got my favorite YouTube comment I've ever gotten. I got over the weekend. I love it so much. It's kind of perfect in every way, and I would really love for it to be a bit because it'd be a great bit. But I would more so love for it to be genuine. But it said, "This is about the Jeskai Lotus Field deck. Hi, I love the deck and was wondering if you could perhaps give the deck a little more flavor by including real Jeskai cards like Narset or a Ultimatum, or morph the deck to Grixis and make it Cruel Control. Please include at least one Ultimatum and one Nickel." And then the praying hands emoji. What do I think of playing for time? It's not something I like to do, but I understand people doing it. And it's okay for people to have different philosophies about sportsmanship than I do. But I don't usually enjoy playing for time. Is that a copy pasta? No, it's just a YouTube comment, but it maybe will turn into a copy pasta. It's perfect. It's just perfect. They wanted a Cruel Ultimatum and a Nickel. They just said Nickel, but they mean Nickel Bolas. Guess I didn't play around Tails End very well. It's just perfect. I don't want to know if it's real or not, you know? I really don't want to know if it's a bit, because it's just so good. My opponent started a little ahead on time, but now we're ahead. I don't think we can afford to Tails in the Scalding Tarn and just have them untap and, you know, just play a big threat. Although maybe now that we have Force, we can. So nah. Yeah, it sounds like a joke, but it's also like not dissimilar at all. It's funny. It's funny because it's so grounded, like within reality, you know, and like the kind of stuff people say. Yeah. I like it's if it's a joke, it's like they're a genius, you know, which is always great. Okay, let's see if they have Tails End. Right, I'm gonna play Teferi with Veil of Summer up, and then Force, and realize I sound like a villain, I guess. If we plus, we don't have to Force of Negation or Written 6, so I think I'm gonna plus. That also resolved like suspiciously quickly. Oh, thank you. Where did you get these?
Whole Foods.
You get to go to the gym. That way we can get cookies.
I got.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. That wasn't a jab.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, what? I like cookies. I didn't go to the gym. This is fine. Yeah, if a mod can make that a command, I think that's command worthy.
Look what I got, though.
What?
Look what I got. It's not the real thing, but...
Caviar?
Caviar. The real caviar was $40, and this was 10.
Is
so.
it? I don't know what the difference is.
Caviar is fish eggs. This is just from a different fish. Actual caviar is from the sturgeon fish, which only resides in the Caspian Sea. I know this because my parents are from the country that is right next to the Caspian Sea. And my mom was like, we bought caviar by the kilograms, or whatever that was.
It's cute.
Yeah.
I'm going to Tails in this fetch land, I think.
But they're also like, you know, endangered, I think, because of all the, we're eating all their eggs.
Well, that's horrible. It's just like, this is so good if they don't have another land. They do have another land, but, you know, we just have effectively stopped 3 zombies by tails ending there. Although they do get to Uro into another land potentially. We can maybe start a Cryptic Command loop. They also maybe don't have another one. They do. Let's see. What are we trying to draw here? Oh. Oh, this is so fine. This path is actively good for us. Although I accidentally have 6. Alright, so I think we're gonna start the... Yeah, they pathed us, so now we can play out a witness. I'm gonna tap their team. I guess I'll just go ahead and fetch now, but doesn't matter very much. They would have got an extra zombie if they arrowed first. Yes. So Ephemerate is the card we most want to find, but we have a little while before that's necessary because we can bounce the witness with our Teferi. So we can go like plus Teferi into Cryptic Command into minus Teferi on witness, get back a Cryptic. My opponent is out of lands in their hand. I'm going to force this Lightning Bolts. It feels bad to have to force a 1-mana spell in a spot like this, but I also don't... I think we have to do so. And they have another answer. It's like a little bit of a better answer for us. We can also, you know, it's not the end of the world. Although that kind of is. Jeez, yeah, that's kind of the end of the world. Maybe I should have saved the... the 4s. JD, if you ! Discord, you can get access to the Discord. Everyone can join, but the Sideboard guides are only for subscribers. We let Uro resolve here, I think. This is game 3, yeah. Really good game. I would love to get to, like, I would love for them to go Teferi into Mana Leak and not get to Veil of Summer the Mana Leak. They're not playing the Teferi. That's so bad for us. I can't believe it. Jeez. Sorry, I played that really quickly because I thought we still had the Sanctuary in the deck, but we don't. Just trying to play quickly because the clock is also a thing here. So them not playing anything there does kind of imply they have like a Cryptic. Yeah, if I draw an Uro, I know that's my catchphrase now. If I draw an Uro, we're just like in it.
This one tastes good.
I have no fear of a lightning bolt.
Try it.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's lemon ginger kombucha.
Well, I think you may have made up some of those words, but
No.
it is good.
It's right here.
Seems like we dead. Maybe. If we don't draw perfectly and our opponent doesn't... If we draw perfectly and our opponent doesn't, we can win. Definitely going to draw instead of bouncing the Sanctuary, I think. Okay. That's maybe a start. Oh no. They haven't cast something to trigger our Veil yet. If we can Veil into Cryptic Command here, maybe we have a chance? Nope. How can you beat field? I mean, I think the last game was a really good showcase of how to beat field. You go over the top with Uro or Eternal Witness loops, basically. I think this hand's a keep. Did I form an opinion if Sultai Uro is better than 4-color? I feel like it's very close. I think it's very close. Maybe I'll play Sultai Uro tomorrow. This is a good meme. We got 2 good copy pastas in one stream, which is pretty above average. I'd say that the average going rate of 1 good copy pasta is about 500 years, and so maybe we did accomplish the 1,000 year stream today. Nice. Skyclave is also another reason why Urza is not very good. Guess they just really care about Tail's End, which they should. I'll Cryptic Command this. I'm pretty happy to... They can't Metallic Rebuke back, and I'm pretty happy to get to use my Cryptic Command this turn to continue to just push my own board. Especially because with Skyclave and all these Ephemerates, we don't care that much about most things they could be doing back to us. Would love to draw a land. We did not. We can burn these Ephemerates, or we can just play Wall. I think I'm just going to play the Wall. We can still get to play our land drop if we hit a land here, because we played the land off of Uro, not the Wall. And holding these seems pretty good with the Skyclave. Yeah, it looks like they're playing some Urza variants. I feel like Urza decks are still a little underplayed in Modern, but they're not a lot underplayed in Modern, you know? A lot of stuff has changed about the format, most notably the bannings, of course, but also Skyclave being printed is really tough for Urza decks. In some ways, Omnath is a better 4-drop than Urza. Especially in the 4-color mana bases, maybe. Especially maybe. Great commentary, as usual. Yeah, you definitely, Urza is still a playable deck. But it's just, a lot has gone wrong for the archetype. I'm going to pass it back here. I appreciate that the Jeskai Lotus deck can be more powerful but less consistent than Jeskai Flagfire, but if I had to take one to Eternity tomorrow and my life was on the line, I would take the Lotus Field one tomorrow. I certainly, so I think that you should think of most decks as being on an X and Y graph of power level and consistency. And you probably want to multiply those two variables together and get the highest number possible. This is kind of an abstract concept, but I think that the Jeskai Lotus Field deck has a higher multiplier of consistency times power level than Jeskai Flagfire does. Am I off the... Yeah, I mean, Urza, I think, Urza or Opal needed to go. I wish it was Urza instead, but at this point I'm fine. This is a Whir of Invention? What does this do? Puts another Thopter Foundry into play, I guess. And we don't care about that, so I'm going to let it resolve. What do I think about unbanning Opal? I do not think Urza and Opal probably can coexist. They got a Spellbomb. That's also fine. Especially because they just have to crack it before we escape this Uro, right? When they didn't, so just gonna escape the Uro. Maybe they think that this is how it works. I remember I thought that you could respond to an Uro Escape when the card first came out. I think like I embarrassingly like I held up like an ooze activation against, it was either Canister or Jabberwocky, I think, in Pioneer. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I mean, if it was Torpor Orb, I mean, main deck Torpor Orb would be so bad for us, but also Torpor Orb and your Imri Urza deck is a bit loose, I think. Okay, so we're not gonna counter Imri because it doesn't matter at all, I think. That's the main reason to not. That it also does nothing. So I think I'm gonna tap their team and draw a card. And then my plan here is going to be to cast Time Warp. I guess just the one Time Warp wins the game. Never mind. But my plan was to cast Time Warp and then Eternal Witness target Time Warp, and when they spell bomb, sack getting Mystic Sanctuary to be able to Time Warp again. But this one Time Warp just kills them. Yeah, we would just play the Uro from the hand. But, like, you know, they're kind of like, if they had Torpor Orb, their decision is, do I play around Uro in the hand or the one I know about in the graveyard? And it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Tailson's pretty good against the Urza Imri deck, probably. Probably pretty good. Walls seem kind of loose, so when you cut walls, trim Ephemerate. Ontanice is pretty good against Imri. Path is probably a bit better against Urza. And also, but Skyclave is like our main removal spell, I think. Probably interested in Veil of Bummer. I'm also maybe interested in playing both 5-drops, but I think Teferi is probably going to be a bit better than Time Warp, especially when we have all these 2-mana counter spells, which makes Teferi better to have a pile of 2-mana counter spells. I think we can trim the third Force of Negation. When is Venser particularly good? Most good against big mana decks, but is like usually good with Ephemerate, like in general, you know. I think I'm gonna trim the third Remand and submit this. Maybe I think this is a good configuration, but I haven't played this matchup very much, of course. I'm gonna use the restroom as well. I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep this hand. Thank you, sweetheart. Why is it so slippery?
Because it's bread on. I want to.
It looks good, thank you.
I want to see if you like the caviar. So.
Oh, that's what this is? Is that what this is? Or
The other one's salmon.
Getting fed caviar in the middle of the stream? That's good. I like it.
Subscribe to Aspiring Spike so he can eat caviar in the middle of the stream every day.
Play around Tails End because we can't ever beat it. Yeah, sorry for crunching right into the mic. Unless you like it, then I'm not sorry, and you're welcome. It's fine. Yester was talking about how her mom used to buy a ton of caviar. She said this is not the real stuff. It's like the budget replacement.
What did you say about me?
I was talking about a different Esther.
No, what did you say about
I
me?
was talking about a different Esther.
You weren't.
Yeah, it was.
No, you weren't. Is that for me?
If they were for 2 here, it's not that good for us. No, yeah. If now that we draw Skyclave, if they were, we just get to Skyclave the combo at some point, and they don't even have a whir. Awesome. I guess they do have 2 Thopter Foundries. And you can only Skyclave the sword if they don't have a mana up. I think I will Tails End Scalding Tarn. If I'm given the option. It stops them from Witching Welling this turn. They only have 2 cards in their hand, and they're kind of like choked on mana all of a sudden. Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize I had to discard. They've got 1 card now. I guess we get back another Ephemerate. Oh yeah, this is fine. Maybe I played Teferi. It's kind of bad if they do have a 2-mana counter spell, maybe. Not that bad. I think I'm just gonna attack with 2 Ice-Fangs. I'm pretty happy if they sack 2 artifacts here to make 2 Thopters and we get to trade with 1 Ice-Fang. And if they also only sack 1 artifact to get a Thopter, that's also like a super good thing with this. But I think if we attack with 3, and they make 2 Thopters, in some ways that's a bit awkward for us. Should have fetched and left white open. Why? This still gets broke up by a spell bomb, right? Brief turn. Do they play board wipes? Maybe, but they probably play Ensnaring Bridge as their board wipe. Yeah, I guess I miss like what that line does for us, but again, I'm also very, very smooth-brained, and if you want me to understand your line, you gotta really, really type everything out, you know? Really explain it. Am I gonna minus on a Thopter Foundry? I don't think so.
Welcome, Spikelings, to the Shark Typhoon.
Austin, 13 months in a row. Hope you're having a good day today, buddy. So I heard you mention something about goblins earlier. Are you back on the goblins deck, or just something you're messing around with a little bit again? Who is a smoother brain, me or a koala? Well, I'm not entirely convinced those are 2 different groups. I could be a koala. Forgot to plus Teferi. Oh, I guess I did. Oops. Got so wrapped up considering whether or not to minus, I forgot to plus instead. Go, my Ice-Fang army, go! EE on 3. I feel like this is kind of fine. If only I had a Tails End. I guess I'm gonna look for a Tails End off of this. But I don't think we need to really do anything about this. If we need to try out Thoughtseize main deck for an increase in oops. It's interesting. I feel like the main idea, of course, is like in those matchups you just try to kill him on turn 3. But main deck Thoughtseize is like super reasonable. Goblins, of course. Yuki has redeemed a deck tag. No lands for you. 4 main deck Tails End. Interesting. And then you're also like looping Ghost Quarter with Ren and 6, which I honestly don't like really view to be that powerful outside of matchups like Tron and like Titan decks. I've also found Dreadhorde Arcanist to be much worse just flashing back 1-mana cantrips in Modern compared to Legacy, where the 1-mana cantrips are better, and there also is like a lot less 1-mana. There are a lot fewer 1-mana removal spells in Legacy compared to Modern. To just kill your Dreadhorde Arcanist. So I think I would not play any of those. You're also not playing a Triome, and I would 100% play the Temur Triome in this deck. And I would also play more lands. I know that you have Valakut's Awakening, but... whoops. Skipped through my turn. That's fine. Look at it, deck tech. Yeah, I'll just play 4 Pyro, no Arcanist. You could also maybe play Joriel and play something else that triggers Joriel, but I might be down for some Joriel like over Delver of Secrets. I'd also play Remand over Mana Leak, even in a deck like this. Maybe you could do something like 2 Remand, 2 Deprive, because Deprive is pretty good when you curve out at 2 or 3 with Mystic Sanctuary. But you need a Triumph, though. Yeah, I might play like 3 Joriel, 4 Pyro, no Delver, 2 Deprive, 2 Remand. Maybe just no Sleight of Hands. Maybe just the 8 1-mana cantrips. Yeah, like I love Arcanist too, but I'm not that into it. I think this is too many Valakut Awakenings. I would play like 2 and then play like the Temur Triumph over 1, and maybe 21 lands is probably good. Actually, I take it back. Probably should have finished this match before digging too deep into that. Yeah, Seagate Stormcaller is pretty interesting. I liked Seagate Stormcaller a lot in that Tribal Flames deck, which was pretty cool. I wish that maybe I should revisit the Tribal Flames deck. I actually considered playing the Tribal Flames shell with Flagstones and Wildfire in just like the normal control deck, and have just like a bunch of Tribal Flames which kill Teferi Time Raveler, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I haven't actually like figured out a 75 that looks good, but that's like something that's on my radar. And one interesting thing about that is like the Lotus Field version is like I think better than the old Flagfire list, but maybe just having 2 mana deal 5 damage is good enough to like put you back on, you know, the fetch land mana base. Does Lotus tapping for ooh woo woo make Archmage Charm good? No, I don't think so. Like, one thing is like even if it's mostly castable off Lotus, which you don't have in every single game, and I think that you like it's really important, it seems to me, in the Jeskai Lotus Field deck to have just a good Jeskai control deck if you don't draw Lotus Field. I think that's really important. And if you don't draw Lotus Field, Charm is hard to cast, but even if you draw Lotus Field, you still are going to be very rarely actually casting Archmage's Charm on turn 3. And so a 3-drop that you can't play on turn 3, I don't think is something you like, or a 3-drop that you're not ever really planning to cast on turn 3 is also not something I'm like down for. It seems very, very difficult to cast it on turn 3. As much as I love Archmage's Charm, like Archmage's Charm, I'm super high on it, and like I think you are incentivized to be able to play it in Modern for sure. I missed your confidence boost. Okay, let me take a look. Let me finish this match because I've been definitely slow rolling with the channel points. Jeskai with flavor, dude. This is a much better version of my list. There's at least 1 Cruel Ultimatum and there are 2 Nickels, so we've actually and you've also covered your bases playing as many Narsets as possible. True Jeskai cards, Narsets. Prophetic Prism is basically Arkham's Astrolabe, a big sleeper. I like the main deck Tails in too. It's very Aspiring Spike sideboard. like playing Tribal Flames as 2-mana deal 5 damage in the Jeskai control deck seems really interesting. I feel like you could just like burn them out of nowhere, but also just play your control role, and like you can, even with Mystics, like just a Mystic Sanctuary that's all of a sudden 10 damage out of nowhere. I've been trying to wrap my brain around it, and I haven't quite figured out a 75 I want, but just having access to the Jeskai and Abzan Triomes really does make Tribal Flames 2-mana deal 5 damage a lot of the time. Like enough of the time to make it pretty interesting, right? How do I feel about flavored coffee? I usually like to drink my coffee black, but some flavored coffee is good. That's a really good point. Just like having any kind of burn plan is pretty unreasonable as long as like Uro and Omnath exist that just have such good incidental life gain. Just turning the gain 3 life into a card is so good for them. Yeah, no Mystic Sanctuary is definitely a big cost in the Lotus Field deck, but obviously you have a powerful payoff for not playing it. Ah! I'm gonna discard this Cryptic Command, I think. I would love to get to maybe just like Ephemerate my Uro a bunch. They discard a trophy. They don't know about this Uro. Yeah, I want to play this so that way I can prevent a Bloodbraid Elf from cascading. But I also think I'm just going to draw a card. And we can't escape this Uro next turn, so I think I'm going to discard a Path this time around. Remember John? Yeah, me too. How's it going, Shane? Am I recording tomorrow? I can't remember if I am or not. I remember I asked if I was recording tomorrow. Can't remember what the answer was. Yeah, and Path to Exile is not a card I want in my hand. Maybe I'll discard the second Ephemerate to this Liliana Plus. We are kind of getting junded here, though. I'm not? Okay, cool. I couldn't remember what we said. That's fine. I'm not mad, I promise. Yeah, I'm not a content creator. I'm MTGO player, aspiring spike. Okay, Mystigate. Oh boy, this is just kind of the perfect example of why Mystigate is so good in this deck, just turning basic planes into a land that casts Uro. We are going to lose our hand to Liliana plus Kroxa, but we got some outs here. Oh, MTGO user aspiring spike, that's right. Wow. MTGO user aspiring spike here. Oh, we can't path the Kroxa, which stinks. I know what card you're talking about, Coatl. It's got like some kind of animal on it. I don't know the name. Yeah, Firestorm, that's it. Looks like a scene out of The Lion King. Switching from Monday to Tuesday is a pain for the editor. Yeah, I get it. I just like, I can't do Mondays. I'm Garfield. Yeah, Firestorm is like pretty good sideboard card on Dredge sometimes. Is a sideboard card in Dredge, should maybe more accurate. We could play Ice-Fang, and that could give us outs to draw Skyclave Apparition to kill Liliana. If we don't play this Ice-Fang now, we're not playing it ever. So I think I'm down. Okay, Ice-Fang into Ice-Fang. Into Skyclave. Sadly, this was not the top card. Bummer. Yeah, I mean Legacy Dredge. I played it in my Legacy Dredge sideboard back when I played that deck. Okay. They're plussing, which I'm really happy with. And now, we can just take this hit and maybe attack this for 2. Yeah, really good for us, I think. It's maybe that they have an answer to an Ice-Fang, especially like this attack into the Death Touchers. Makes me think they have one answer. But either way, it makes sense to just not block, right? Can we get a channel point redemption where I say, occur like Cardi B? No, we can't. Not in my wheelhouse. Yeah, it was a really good suggestion, Simon.
How was your brunch?
It was great, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I feel energized and ready to tackle anything. Even if you don't want to tackle you. You took my earphone out.
Oops.
I want to leave a Skyclave in the yard. So we can exile an Ice-Fang. I think I'm probably not getting back to Teferi, but maybe I would. Maybe I should have cracked my Strand just for an easy exile.
When I clean in here, can you vacuum too?
Yeah. I really wish when search for the Empinadas. Yeah, I really loved that standard format where control mirrors were all about search for Azcanta and Torrential Gear Hulk. That was always really fun. And then when control mirrors became about Teferi Time Raveler, I was way less into it. Yeah. I love Torrential Gear Hulk. If my opponent gives me 3 lands plus Uro, we kind of have a mirror match going on. 3 lands and a Titan versus 3 lands and a Titan. Smart of them to split up the Plains and the Mystic Gate. Yeah, I think they need to give me Uro, Ice-Fang, Mystic Gate versus the lands. I think that's the split, where I basically have to take the lands, I think. Maybe not. Maybe we just keep Uro. Like, here I'm just, easily sacrificing these 4 lands. And if their one card is another answer to Uro, I'd to, cry and complain about it, but if it's not that, we're just in okay shape. Interesting to offer the trade here. I think we don't take it this turn, but maybe we take it next turn. How did I do with the Xehanort champs? I made day 2. My historic deck was pretty good. I went 5-2. With a Bant control homebrew with 4 main deck tails end. And then my standard list was really bad. I think I played a Gruul list, and I think my list was not very good for the tournament. And I went 2-6 in standard. So this was the worst answer to Uro that they could have possibly drawn. So we just get to escape it again. Although I was supposed to get Island here over Forest because of Cryptic Command. I already had double green. And oops. E-Daisies. Yeah, I don't think their split was good. I mean, Liliana is a super difficult card to play with. Like the ultimate, it's very difficult to split perfectly. And Uro is a very difficult card for them to deal with. I'm gonna just attack this turn, I think. Eventually, let's just escape the Uro again. This Ice-Fang's also getting in for a lot of damage. Yeah, so let's put this island into play. That way my opponent doesn't know that we can escape the Uro again. I miss when Jund was there was a time where Jund was on our regular rotation. It's a good time. Some of you will even remember when I first started streaming, my first brew that performed well, kind of, started to get the ball rolling was I was just one of the first Jund players to play Wrenn and 6. I'm going to hold this discard to Croaks, I guess. I was just one of the first Jund players that like put Ren and 6 in their deck, and I streamed a ton of it. And it was pretty good for a little while. Yeah, the early Spike days. But now I've devolved from MTGO streamer Aspiring Spike down into MTGO user Aspiring Spike. How the mighty have fallen. I think I'll keep the Time Warp in. I feel like 2 past 4 Skyclave is plenty of answers. Force is interesting. Time Warp is obviously going to be nuts some games, but it's kind of hard. It's really hard to assemble Ephemerate Witness Time Warp. I'm going to play 1 Force over the Time Warp on the draw. Yeah, I also played the 3 CMC Chandra after it came out, but when I first started playing it, that one wasn't printed yet. Called it Ren and Friends. What's the joke about MTGO user? There was an MTG Goldfish article that was talking about the Jeskai Lotus Field spike in price and said MTGO user Aspiring Spike piloted it to a 5-0 finish. And it's just funny that MTG Goldfish has no idea that I am a streamer e-boy. No idea I exist. A nice spoonful of humble pudding. Coatl has redeemed a deck tag. How does Esther feel about dating an e-boy? She loves it. Maybe is she still here? Esther, are you still here? I'm gonna keep this against John on the draw. Oh, this is the article. Esther, are you still here or no? Guess not. I was going to ask her, but she's not here. I guess I was supposed to play Misty. Yeah. Why no Aether Gust? I think some decks want Gust against Jund, but more so decks that are not just like good against beating Jund on the board, and this deck is, if that makes sense. Gust isn't great against Jund, but a lot of control decks just kind of need cheap 2-mana spells, but we have plenty of those. Yeah, she left me. It was nice of her to leave me some brunch before she did, though. So I don't think that... The problem with playing Seagate Stormcaller in these kind of decks is that it plays really poorly with counterspells, I think, and maybe it's not a big deal. But I've just been thinking about... I don't think I would play the Stormcaller. Maybe you do. And like maybe it's just quietly good because it was very good in the other version. But like in the list I've been making, I haven't been playing Seagate Stormcaller. And I think so. I would probably just like do the boring thing and play 4 Snap, 3 Teferi, Time Raveler. I kind of feel like also with... I've also had 4 Tribal Flames in all of my lists and kind of like been playing no Lightning Helix, 4 Bolt, 4 Tribal Flames. Has been how I've been building it. I do like the Valakut Awakenings. And the sideboard is probably the exact sideboard I'd start with, just like the current Jeskai sideboard. Those are my thoughts on how I would approach building this. And also, like, you playing Seagate Stormcaller makes less sense, I suppose, also, if you are... like, if you're only playing 2 Tribal Flames, Stormcaller's not that good. I know it can still copy Cleansing Wildfire, but I think I'm just not about it, I guess. Let's play a Teferi. I don't know. I feel like Remand's is like I feel like Remand's really good in like this like control shell that's like I feel like Remand's really good in the deck. Aspiring Spike, better known as MTGO user Aspiring Spike. Yeah, I really I mean, you know, despite the fact that I had to eat some humble pie, I do feel like this has really opened the door to some good jokes coming out. I'm probably just discarding Uro. And then... if we bounce Spellbomb, they may just sacrifice without being able to draw a card, but if they do, we don't get to draw a card, so... it's probably not something we're that interested in, I guess. I'm gonna just plus this again. Valakut Awakening seems pretty important to pivot from aggro to control. Maybe. I do think Valakut Awakening is just good in these kind of decks. Maybe Bloodstone is a card you want with Tribal Flames. I don't think you can play Bloodstone in your fetch land decks. Whereas MTG Arena user at the PT, I was, yeah. Really branching out. I'm gonna get Steven's here, or sorry, Breeding Pool here because I have a double green card in my hand, although I would really like to draw into a double white card. Counterbounce. Into the Story defines our relationship. I hope that I get to believe Into the Story is playable in Modern again one day. I'm not sure that will ever happen. Alright, so our opponent kind of needs to crack this Spell Bomb without drawing a card, since if they don't, and we have I guess we have a fetch land, they respond to that. Yeah. Yeah, they can respond to anything that goes to the graveyard, so they don't actually need to do anything here. If they realize that, I will just draw a card. Not going to bounce the Spell Bomb, because then they fizzle the draw when they sack. Not playing Nylea's Presence in a Tribal Flame deck. No. What about Naya Tribal Flames with Dryad of the Elysian Grove? I see. I don't know. There's just better things to be doing with Dryad, I think. But maybe. So it was a comment that made... So it was a comment that made... that downgraded you playing. It was a comment that made... So it was a comment that was made that downgraded me playing. Yeah, I don't know. The MTGO user thing is just very clear that they had no idea that I am a content creator, you know. And I think that usually the form is, if you are aware, you would say streamer aspiring spike, which is, it's not a big deal. It's just funny that they have no idea. Guess I'm supposed to float white in case I drew Ephemerate. Kind of don't want to Skyclave the Liliana. The Liliana I don't think is like very good here. I'll just discard the path to Lily. Yeah, it's also like build. That's definitely part of it. Is that if somebody else had just gotten the 5-0, which happens all the time when I put out new lists, other people just pick it up and their list gets published instead of mine. That if my list wasn't the one published, which it usually isn't, that like my name wouldn't have been in the article at all. I mean, you're not wrong, Scotty, which I think is also not a bad thing. Could path their own Ice-Fang. I think I'll just Cryptic. To return the Ice-Fang and draw a card, and then we get to actually draw an extra card. Did I have any interactions with them in the past where they might feel slighted? I mean, I've had no interactions with them at all. I've never like had even in like a Twitter conversation with anybody from MTG Goldfish. I don't think that there's secret beef, no. If there is, I'm not aware of it. Draw a land, we get to hold up Venser. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I agree, Shane. Like that's really what all it is that MTG Goldfish operates on a completely different scale than like a moderately successful streamer like myself, you know? Alright, gonna keep this in the blind on the draw. Plains Go. Against Plains Go, I think we're going to want to play Flooded Strand on turn 1. Because these decks usually play a card called Lean and Arbiter. Razorverge Thicket. Ah, I see. My old nemesis. Bogles. Belogles. I don't know if I've ever played this matchup. Obviously, it's a bit of a bummer that we have no creature removal against them having the core Spirit Dancer draw, but... yeah, they've definitely got a weird draw here. Okay, never mind. Our draw is lined up well against theirs, as it turns out. They're surprised they didn't go with Dark Souls player. Yeah, that's what I hope to, in my wildest fantasies, I hope to one day be known as Dark Souls player. Aspiring Spike, profound, amazing Dark Souls streamer. But there are some dreams that cannot be in there. There are some storms we cannot weather. If I ever win a PT, I will seriously attempt to do a GS1 no-hit run. If I ever win a PT. I commit to that right now. It's just really not much of a commitment, honestly. It's harder to win a PT than to no-hit DS1 by a lot. How's the stream going today? This is an older brew, Active Gamer Fitness, unless you're joking a bit. I've played a lot of this deck. I got second in 2 back-to-back challenges with this list. I've not played Cyberpunk. Honestly, like I was never like really even too hyped about it since I didn't know much about it going in, and I'm also just not super into like the dystopian fantasy genre. I guess it's not bad, but it just doesn't really like do it for me, I guess. But so I'll probably buy it at some point, but I'm not in any rush. Been watching some people play them. How about win a PT? Someone donates 500,000 channel points for the no-hit run. I'll just do it myself. Or donate it myself. This has been like one of the weirdest game against boggles I've ever played. Just, they don't have a boggle, and we just bounce their Spirit Dancer forever. I don't think my opponent's getting another turn. I've seen some people try more copies of Time Warps than just the one I'm playing. And obviously Time Warp looks insanely good a lot of the time. But, it definitely has diminishing returns where like the first one is usually good to draw, but if you just draw too early, it can just be a disaster. Would you the second Witness? It's funny because like Ephemerate lets us take infinite turns, but Witness just like lets us to continue take finite turns. But this kills them because we can bounce an Eternal Witness next turn with Teferi, and then take one more turn, which is enough to kill them. Yeah, we seem to be slightly ahead on tempo here, I agree. Oh, we didn't even need the next turn. Yeah, yes, I guess, yeah, Soulstrong has a really different version that's like playing Aether. Like, I think it makes more sense to play more Time Warps if you're in on like the Aether Vial version. I think I agree with that. But I also don't like being in on the Vials. Okay, so I think our plan is to loop Cryptic Commands and Time Warps, which I think is sometimes where Teferi shines. We have Skyclave Apparition to deal with Gaddock Teague or Core Spirit Dancer. We also have Teferi to deal with those cards, so I don't think we want to have Path to Exile or Onthan Ice. We'll just play another Venser, I guess. Easiest game I've ever played in all my years. Yeah, I hope that the bugs get fixed. Of course. Hope the bugs get fixed. Let's keep this hand. I think we'll put back Force of Negation on the mulligan. If this was a hand where we didn't mulligan, I would not put back any cards. Alright, well, Dryad Arbor plays around Skyclave Apparition, I suppose. I'm a bit of a boomer when it comes to these kind of things, but it's still very weird to me. It feels very alien that not alien. Just it's kind of surreal to me that you buy a video game, kind of expecting the video game to change over like years of time. Like the game you're buying at release is going to change over time, and that's certainly like a bit of a a boomer attitude, or just like
What's
idea
up?
to have.
Your friend Aspiring Spike.
But it still just is really weird to me that is the case. Opponent is playing Boggleless Boggles, I guess. TGE Collider 4 months in a row. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming back. I don't know. I feel like I never hear anybody say that. That just like games will be patched and updated and they will just have different versions, and like that is just kind of now true of any video game you buy. It's just going to be different. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just that it's weird to me. Isn't that literally what Magic does? Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like, I don't know why it's weird to me. It just feels strange. Oh, they are playing Boggles. Okay. I think I'm just going to get the Spirit Dancer and pass. It used to be just buy a game and it's just kind of the same thing forever. I want to hold up Ephemerate here because our opponent could if they just play a couple auras, if they go Rancor into Spirit Mantle, we get to block, Ephemerate the Skyclave, kill the Rancor, and actually get to kill the Gladecover Scout in combat. And killing the Gladecover Scout in combat is a pretty big priority, I think, especially when I have a second Skyclave in my hand. So here we can exile the Ethereal Armor, which is what's giving first strike, and actually get to kill the Gladecover Scout. Although, no, sorry. Sorry, it's actually not true, because we have to flicker the Skyclave. Never mind. So we'll just kill the Rancor, so it's not first striking then. Never mind. Damage doesn't go on the stack anymore. It was a pretty recent change. I think we've got enough walls to keep these tokens at bay. So I'm just gonna go after their enchantments, and we have another Skyclave Apparition for Teague. So, and we also have no spell that Teague stops in our hand. Yeah. We have more blue sources than green sources, so I'm gonna leave up Temple Garden in case we draw blue. We can play Ice-Fang. A chest gifting a sub to Songs from Goat. Thank you, buddy. Total 38 now. Skyclave Apparition's pretty good. An above average Magic card, I think. Notably, my opponent's not playing Luris. Opponent's going to attack their 2/2/2s into my 2/04s. Just peak Magic. I think you have more gifted subs than anybody else, Shane. Don't think anyone can flex more than you. People don't play Boggles to think. Yeah, we found that out last week. Although I really feel I feel bad because their attack with the Gaddock Teague actually made sense if their only other answer to the Platinum Empyrean was the Force of Vigor in their hand. But they attacked with their Gaddock Teague, and my hand was all... I had no outs to the Gaddock Teague left in my deck, and then they attacked with it, and I just got to block. I'm I can't believe they did this. Boggles players, am I right? But in retrospect, if they also didn't have an out to the Platinum Empyrean, their attack was fine. So I feel bad for going as, aggro as I did, maybe. I don't mind shocking to play Ice-Fang. We have insulation from decking. Oh yeah, we can't. Yeah, we couldn't cast any of our anti-decking cards, Teferi and Nexus because of the Teague. That's right. Although I will say, like, they didn't know that we had no answers to the Teague, right? And they could think that the longer they wait, the longer I get to draw something. I don't know. I'm not saying their play was correct necessarily. It's just that it was way more reasonable than I made it out to be in the moment because I didn't understand. Oh yeah, although I could just discard Nexus to hand size. Right. Well, thanks to Spoke. My willingness to laugh about the Bogus players at the time and the retrospective tone it down after. I wish I had the... Is there a word for current? Like retrospect, but right now. You know, like... Why does my opponent have Spyglass in their deck right now? Like... You know what I mean? Insight, introspect. I feel like that's not just spect. Surely we could make a word that means what I'm trying to say. Like just literally like understanding what's happening now. I guess that's just like insight. Yeah. Presence of mind. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, hindsight, but like right now, dude. You know what I mean? Dude, what if we had a hindsight that was present sight, man? A Sharingan, yeah. Dude, I don't even get me started on the Sharingan and how many times it feels like it's been like retconned. Like, does the Sharingan see in the future? Does it just read the movements? I just feel like it. I don't know. I'm just critical of Naruto's world building because it really did have the potential to be something special. Like, it was almost, like, incredibly well done world building, but it just is inherently flawed. But it's, like, close to being, like, some of the best world building, I think, in fiction. But it didn't sack their lantern. Deck me a Boggles list. I'll probably veto stock Boggles, honestly. It doesn't seem very fun. Geist of St. Drafts. Probably would veto that too. Boggles is not a deck I enjoy playing. I don't think I've ever actually played it. So maybe I don't know. You'd have to have something like a little juicier than that, I guess, and like actually good. Did I see the dual format NRG series tourney this weekend with a PT invite? I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Lotus Boggles, now you're talking. What about like making the Jeskai Lotus Field deck a Grixis Boggles deck? Just kind of making a couple changes to make it Grixis Boggles. Creatures, it's a lot. Yeah, with Cruel Ultimatum. Ooh. Opponents should probably be cracking their lantern. I guess they're just dead, huh? Yeah, we have exactly 6. 0 mana, deal 6 damage to your opponent. Pretty good. I guess it's actually 8 because we could cast a Skyclave. Yeah, sorry, what's the NRG thing? Legacy and Modern. $2,500 cash prizes. Chaldean Champion Insight. Well, I'm definitely playing in this. This is Sunday.